Hello, good morning. Hope everyone is great. Just checking to make sure everything is working. Facebook has changed the format a bit. So I think we should be up and running. Yes, we're good. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at liberation from our obligations. And we're going to do this over the course of 2 days. So today is mainly going to be looking at things from our past life history and from our ancestral lines. So tomorrow is going to be more dealing with kind of your current lifetime and what's been going on. Maybe more so, yeah, in this lifetime. So we're going to clear out some foundations, clear some paths, make way for some much better stuff over the next few days. So let's see. Good morning, Jan and Michelle and Tracy. Let's see. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being here. So for those of y'all who have not done this before, or if you're watching the replay, we tend to get really started around kind of the 5-minute mark. And if you don't know me, I'm Jennifer Main. I'm a transformational guide and I'm an initiator. I help people to step up and step into their highest potential. And that's really what these meditations are about. It's helping us to release ourselves from the past, release the things that have not been working, for that bright and beautiful future that we are all so ready to create now, right? Morning, Shuna and Michelle. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like my laugh. It's a big part of me. So life is always better with some laughter. Yes, so welcome. To prepare, if you've got some water with you, that's great. Get a bit of, some warmth. So a scarf, a blanket, something, make sure you're sitting comfortably. We're going to be working more so with the lower chakras today. So if you've got crystals or anything around that kind of supports those lower chakra work or grounding, that's great. And I would say if you can sit up for today's meditation, I know we did one last week where I had you lying down. If you feel like you can lie down but stay awake, then you may be okay. But if you feel like you're kind of nodding off or you're struggling to stay awake, then I would encourage you to sit up because it's good to have a conscious connection and a conscious awareness to what we're doing in the meditation for your conscious mind to hear and process everything that we're going through. Morning, Tracy. Yes, the initiator. That's what I am. That's what I'm doing. This is my big stuff now. Um, yeah, it's time. I'm not messing around anymore. Hopefully, y'all aren't either. Morning, Lilia. Great. So let's see where we're at. So what we're going to do is in just a minute, morning Caroline and Mags, lovely to be here on the live, definitely. Yeah, thank y'all for being here. Thanks for getting up in the morning and playing along. Yeah, good. So we've got a good number on so far. So what we'll do is in just a minute, we'll do the breathing. So we'll do just a couple minutes of breathing just to get us here and get us present. The breath brings us into the present. It really brings us deep into our bodies. And then, so we'll do a couple minutes of breathing, and then I'll talk through the content for today, and we'll spend about 35, 40 minutes in meditation. Morning, Caroline. Morning, Sarah and James. Thank y'all for being here. Right. So let's do a couple minutes of breathing. So if you want to just take in a couple nice deep breaths and close your eyes and just allow yourself to just really sink into your body. You can see it as floating down through the air or through the water. Just allow yourself to just go deep within your body and really align within your heart. And as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, just at your own pace. And as you breathe in, you can imagine that you're breathing in lots of love and support, care and guidance. And as you're breathing out any tension or stress, any old emotions that have been building up, holding on. And really allow your out breath to be nice and long, a full out breath, that full release. Just allow yourself to really allow all that air to go from your body. It will carry with it old waste and stagnant energy with it. So breathe it all out. As you're sinking deeper into your body, going deeper into yourself, recognize that you're still connecting with your head, your throat, these higher chakras within your body, but also being really present and centered in these lower chakras. And within those lower chakras, really allow yourself to feel supported and strong, knowing that you've got healthy roots, that you're really being held by the earth, held by the collective. So just a few more nice deep breaths. Feeling that air expanding through all your cells, all your energy beyond your body, through your aura. You're feeling cleansed and cleared and really present. With these last breaths, really focus on that out breath, breathing it all out, all that stagnation, anything that's stuck, anything that's been held or locked away in your body, just breathe it all out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So thank you, thank you. Let's see. Morning, Allison. Missed you too. Hope you had a few good days off. Morning, Lorraine and Linda and Julie and Claire and Lauren. Thank y'all for joining. It's great to be here. Yes, so let's talk about what we're going to be doing the next couple of days, and then we're going to get into the meditation. So at any point in the next couple of minutes, if any questions or anything comes up, then feel free to ask away. I'd be happy to hear from you. Let me know how you're feeling after all the breathing. Yes, so today and tomorrow we're really focusing on liberation from obligation. And today's focus is going to be more on things like our ancestral lines, what's in our genetic makeup, in our DNA, and also past life issues. So these are going to be the really old things that we've been carrying for a long time that have been passed through the generations. And then once we have a good clear out from that, and create some spaciousness, then tomorrow we're going to focus more on this lifetime and what's been going on with your family, your work, your life, your friendships, your relationships, everything from this lifetime. So today is going to be a good clear out, and tomorrow we're going to bring you more into the present so that you can apply all of this stuff more readily. So hopefully that sounds good for you. Morning, Julia and Ritzia and Jason and Jessica. Thanks for being here. And so we're going to have some fun. So let's talk a little bit about old obligations and why we have them. So the first thing I want to say about obligation and burden is that if you have it, you've chosen to have it. You've allowed it and you've accepted it on some level. So I think we can get really good as human beings about blaming our families, about blaming our ancestors, about being pissed off about our past lives, all the stuff that we went through. But if it's something that you are still carrying now, it's something that you've accepted in this lifetime and something that you've committed to. So there can be lots and lots of reasons why you've done that. But it's always serving you in some way. You're always trying to learn from it or grow from it or gain something from it. So in terms of especially with our ancestral obligations. And I'm probably going to focus more on the ancestral stuff today. I'll talk you through the difference between past life and ancestral. But for a lot of times, if we are accepting obligations, things that have gone down through the family, so these can be old debts that ancestors didn't manage to pay off or couldn't pay off or couldn't live up to. They can be monetary, they can be their own obligations, promises, oaths, and vows that they made. Sometimes we accept that stuff because we want to understand what that ancestor went through. We want to understand that journey that they experienced. So sometimes we're trying to understand the human experience or the collective or something that's happened in our ancestral line. Often what we do as well is we will accept obligations or debts or things like this because we feel like it gives us a job. It helps us to belong. It means that we are trying to do something for a family member. We're trying to do something for our family, which means that we can be appreciated and cared for and cared about. So sometimes we do it because we feel that it could be that you feel like you don't know your own purpose, or you feel that your job is to heal your family stuff. By the way, that we're going to have some healing for both of those today because your family is not your job. Their stuff, healing their stuff is not your job. So sometimes we do it to create a sense of belonging or importance or feeling like we're contributing in some way. So sometimes we can also look at ancestors or look at things from our past lives and go, oh, that ancestor was really wise, or that person was really strong, or that person had all these great gifts and qualities. I want to cultivate those too. So we choose to go through and repeat things from the past because we're trying to tap into gifts or develop strengths or develop wisdom or grow in certain ways. Or if we can see someone who's had a lot of success, then we'll maybe go through their trials and tribulations and the difficulties that they went through because we think that, well, if that resulted in success for them, then it could result in success for me. So, hopefully some of this is resonating and some of this will start to make some sense as we go through the meditation. But ultimately, if you're carrying an obligation, if you're carrying a burden, you've chosen it for a reason. So I would encourage you today to just allow yourself to be open to understanding. You may not get all of the information about that past life or about what was happening with your ancestor, but if you can be open to an understanding of why you've accepted it and what you're trying to gain from it, then you can allow those obligations to resolve, because the reality is we don't need obligations and burdens in order to grow and develop and learn. We don't have to do it in that way. There are much better ways to do it. And actually, if we're doing it through obligation, then so much of our energy and time and effort gets eaten up by the energy of obligation, by the limitations of it. That it slows things down, it makes it harder, it makes it more difficult, and you're not going to get the results you actually want from it. It doesn't happen. We don't really get what we want from obligation. So let me know if there's any questions coming up within that. We've got a couple of minutes, so if you've got any questions or anything you want me to clarify or go into a little bit more deeply, then I'm happy to do that. Morning, Emily. So in terms of the difference between past life and ancestral, it doesn't matter too much where it comes from. You don't need to get into the whole story or understand the whole story, or the drama of it, or the whatever from it in order for it to heal. So with some of this stuff, if you're not sure if it's a past life or if you're not sure if it's a genetic memory, that is okay. As long as you're ready to let it go, then that will work. Now, what I find is that a lot of times people get really caught up in the drama in the story because they think it's a past life and they think it's something that I've seen a lot of people get really caught up in their past life stuff because either the drama of it excites them, they think it makes them important or interesting, or their own life right now is boring. And so they're looking back at a past life and going, well, look at those interesting things I did there. So anything, again, whether it's ancestral or a past life, my response to that is, okay, that's great if you did that in a past life or if an ancestor did that before you, but what about right now? What is it that you're trying to create right now with that? So don't get so caught up in the drama of your past life experiences that you forget about now, that you forget about what's happening here and now. Because if there's a past memory that's coming up, there's something going on in your life right now that resonates with that, that you're needing to address and that you're needing to resolve. So if you're getting some, I don't know, strange story about an ancestor who was unable to pay off his debts and was imprisoned or punished or something like that, well, what you need to do is go, okay, what from that story, even though it seems extreme or seems like a very long time ago or wasn't me, what is going on in my life right now that resonates? Am I having my own debt that's making me feel trapped? Or am I feeling so obligated within my job, within my friendships, within my family dynamics that I feel like I'm still trying to get myself out or get myself free? So there's always something right now that will resonate with that. So just again, allow yourself to just create these awarenesses, allow yourself to be in that understanding so that as we go through and heal stuff, if you can make these connections between past and present, you can allow a lot of that to resolve. Because once you get the insights, then that past stuff really starts to clear. So hopefully that makes sense too. Um, Lauren, have a deep fear of betrayal. Feels like it's past life and ancestral could be. Possible to be carried from our past experience and also carrying. Yeah, so what you can find is that there may be issues that resonate in both of those levels. So yeah, there could be things that happen in your past life that your ancestors have also been through. So it can definitely happen on those two levels at once. But the reality is that when you get the understanding from it, when you really understand it, then you will let that stuff go. You never have to keep carrying that stuff. So it's good that you're ready to let it go now. So something else that we're going to do today is unlock some karma. So this is definitely one of my kind of specialties. I'm a Capricorn, I'm ruled by Saturn. It's all about karma and cause and effect and, how we create. So working with karma is one of my favorite things to do. Most people don't really understand karma in the highest perspective. So karma essentially is that cause and effect. But a lot of times the cause and effect doesn't always happen in the way that we think it should or in the timing that we think it should. So sometimes we have effects that are happening in our lives from something that we did years ago. A decision that we made, a choice that we made, something that we chose to do, and now we're feeling the effects of it. So it's not always an instant thing, karma. And sometimes, we can get this feeling that we're being punished for our past lives or being punished for our ancestors' crimes. But again, it's really worth looking at, okay, well, what was I meant to learn at that time? What could I have learned or done differently at that time? And often with things like, these karmic debts, with things like punishment, feeling imprisoned, feeling trapped in all this, there's always a feeling there around feeling like you're guilty or like you deserve it or like it's something that you have to experience. There's always some kind of negative feelings in that allow that to be created, that kind of motivate you to accept that or allow that to happen. So when we're clearing this karma stuff, what we're going to do is we're going to release any of these obligations to be punished, release any obligations to be in suffering or be trapped or imprisoned by it. And we're also going to release you from any ancestral karma. Because again, a lot of people have these beliefs that they have to heal their whole family line. And actually, when you try to do that, you slow it down. And you can't really do it because you can't change somebody else's karma. You can't heal their stuff for them. They have to do it themselves. So what you can recognize is that by living here and healing your own stuff, your ancestors are watching you. They're receiving healing too, but without you having to do it in ways that are drawn out or slow or full of obligation. And that there are other planes and other ways that they can be resolving and healing this stuff on too. So it is not your responsibility to heal your whole family line. You work on yourself and your family line heals itself. So we're going to release you from a lot of obligation within that too. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see. Michelle, no idea about past lives, but I do have enough stories going on in this life. Great. Just focus on those. If there's any past stuff that needs healing, it will happen too. Morning, Sarah. Yes, so we'll be going into so most of today will be kind of focused in more the lower chakras. So just really allow yourself to be in these lower chakra energies today, setting the intentions that old karma is resolved, that any old oaths and vows or obligations are healed, um, any old allegiances, promises, vendettas, things like battles and wars that may have happened in the past. We're going to let that stuff go. These feelings of being enslaved or invaded or taken over. We're going to let all that stuff go. It's definitely going to help with the things that are going on in the world right now. Um, and it's also going to help to clear a space, because I think a lot of times what happens is we follow in our ancestors' footsteps. We follow their paths because we feel like we don't know what ours is or what we should be doing. So we're going to clear some of those old pathways, especially the ones that are not yours and that are not for you. And if there's so many, and if it's becoming confusing and there's too many options there, we're going to let all that stuff go so that you can more clearly see your path and the path that you are to take, as opposed to the ones that your ancestors may have taken that don't suit you or don't align for you. Max, what about your descendants? Can it also heal in the background? Yeah. So if you're healing yourself, if your ancestors want a healing too, they can receive it because they're connected with you. They can feel it. They're aware of what's going on. So, I have some pretty stubborn ancestors who don't always want a healing when I heal my stuff, and that's okay. That's their choice. um, so you can have that going backwards, and you can also have it going forwards. So any future generations, whatever you're healing now for yourself, they can be healed for them as well. Time doesn't really exist, or it's different beyond this plane. So, so don't worry too much about time or when or how long or where or anything like that. It will heal if you really allow it to. So, yeah, so it can heal forwards and backwards. It's very cool. Right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the meditation. So get yourself comfortable, have a little bit of water if you need it. Water is a carrier and a connector, and if you're hydrated, your meditations and your healing will be much more easily facilitated. So make sure you have a little bit of water before you get started, and get yourself in a comfortable position. If you want to get into a blanket or get warm, then go ahead and do that for yourself, and take in a couple nice deep breaths. Bring yourself down into your heart and breathe into your heart for a moment. And then bring yourself down into your root chakra, to these lower chakras in your body. And I want you to take a moment and just breathe into that space. If it's feeling heavy or dense or stuck or dark, I want you to breathe some light and some life and some spaciousness into that chakra and those lower chakras now. If it looks dark or cloudy or nebulous, I want you to shine a light there. Imagine you're turning on a light. And just go ahead and start to feel the energy start to shift there. And you can imagine that light and that spaciousness in your feet, your ankles, your calves and shins, your knees, thighs, your hips, and up into that lower part of your body, your abdomen. And throughout this meditation, you're going to take in some nice deep breaths. And every time you breathe out, I want you to fully breathe out. So your out breath may be longer than your in breath. That's okay. But we're really focusing on the release today. So witness your whole lower body breathing in and out with you as you breathe. So the chakras are breathing, your cells are breathing, your legs are breathing, your organs are breathing. Within those breaths, I want you to start to feel the movement of your energy, and anything that's feeling stagnant as we talk through today's meditation. I want you to focus on breathing into that part of your body or those parts of your body. And allow the healing that we're doing and your breath to help to shift the emotion, the karma, the limitation, and the obligation within it. So keep breathing deep. And feel the movement. So as you're sitting deep in your body, feeling really grounded and present, I want you to imagine the path or the paths before you. And imagine that you're looking all around at the ground around you. And you may see many, many paths. Paths that you've taken in your past lives. The paths that your ancestors have taken before you. There might be multiple layers. You may find that there's quite a lot of overlap as well. Just take a moment to feel into that, to notice what's there. So maybe going back. Some may branch off to the side. Some may move you forward. And what I want you to do is start to identify the paths that do not align for you. And they may be paths that served your ancestors, or paths that served you well in a past life or a past incarnation. But if it's not for this lifetime, I want you to allow that to start to change. So you may see it blow away, disappear, wash away. However that works for you, just start to notice them becoming less obvious, feeling less of a pull to them. And any paths that are there that still feel strong, that's okay. We're going to keep coming back to them so you can start to recognize the one that really does align for you. Possibilities and the opportunities that are going to take you down the path that aligns you with your purpose, what you're here to do. So I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to allow yourself to connect with your ancestors, with your ancestral lines, your mother's side, your father's side, those branches of your tree. and allow them to step forward. And allow yourself to connect. So within your body, within your genetic makeup, allow yourself to recognize what's there. So you have ancestors that are so strong, that are powerful, that are talented and wise. You chose them for a reason. You chose them for many, many reasons. And you chose your genetic line because you knew it was going to support you in various ways. So allow yourself to go into your DNA right now, into that genetic makeup of what is helping to create you as a human being, connects you with humanity. I want you to recognize the brightness that's there and the goodness. And allow yourself to remember the reasons that you chose your genetic lines. Just allow that information to come to you now. So recognize their creativity and their joy, their abilities to sing and dance, express themselves. Recognize the beauty within them, physically, emotionally, energetically. Their successes, all that gifts, knowledge, and wisdom within them. You chose that. It's there within you. So feel it within you. See it within you. In your life, in your body. And amplify all those gifts. Amplify the goodness. And the awesomeness and the magnificence that they cultivated over the years and the generations and lifetimes. Within all those gifts, within your genetic makeup, within your DNA, within your body, I want you to notice if there's any obligation with them. So that might look like chains, it might look like a sacrifice, suffering or hardship. Any part of you that feels like you have to trade part of yourself, dampen or dull who you are. Anything that feels like it's being withheld. I want you to breathe into that and let that change. And any part of you that feels like you have to sacrifice yourself or suffer in order to grow or learn, feel that change within you now. Any promises that you've made, any oaths or vows that you've made because you thought you needed to in order to live those gifts. Breathe into that now and feel all that release and change. And any part of you that felt that you had to be burdened by pain or suffering that they went through or that you went through in a past life, I want you to breathe into that and release yourself from it now. You never have to go through pain or suffering to learn or grow. And any part of you that felt that you had to prove yourself in some way to be worthy of these gifts, to be worthy of any of this, allow that to change within you now. Because they chose you too. There's never been a need to prove yourself. There's never been a need to prove your worth. That has never been the case. So any part of you that believed that, that's been trying to do that, release yourself from that obligation now. So take a nice deep breath. I want you to allow yourself to feel into your ancestral karma. Their oaths and vows, their debts, their punishment, any of their perceived curses or spells or bad luck. Often what we feel as a curse or a spell is just bad choices and the bad luck that comes with that. So whatever they did, whatever they chose that created a feeling of bad luck or bad fortune, that caused them to feel imprisoned or trapped or buried, whatever caused them to feel indentured or enslaved, trapped in poverty, trapped in illness, in degeneration or death. I want you to breathe into that now and release yourself from that. If they want to be released too, they can be. But you get to release yourself no matter what they choose. And any parts of you that have felt guilty or felt it would have been selfish to do this before, allow that to heal within you now. Because your freedom is not selfish. And there's no need to feel guilty. And within your own body, if you've been repeating patterns of poverty, debt, of illness, degeneration, or disease, allow yourself to recognize what you've been trying to learn, what you've been trying to understand, what you've been trying to gain from it. Because you can have the growth without the suffering. So breathe deep into that. And release yourself from that obligation. And any debts associated with that, imagine them being paid because they already have been. And any feelings of being punished, imagine it stopping because it already has. It's in the past. And any pictures of you being imprisoned or trapped or enslaved, step outside of that. Free yourself because you already have been freed. And all those chains to the past, imagine them changing. Free yourself. I want you to take a breath and go into the parts of your body that feel like they are fighting. They're fighting a battle. That are caught in that conflict. The wars that you're fighting, all the ways you feel invaded or feel that you have to invade others. I want you to feel all that battle and fight within you now. And I want you to ask yourself what you've been trying to get from it. Have you been trying to feel stronger, more empowered? Have you been trying to prove that you're right or that your ancestors were right? Have you been trying to take back what you felt was wrongly taken from you or from your ancestors? Have you been trying to right the wrongs that have probably already been righted in some way, shape, or form? So I want you to breathe into all that battle. I want you to allow yourself to de-armor, to put down the shields, to take off the layers, and to put down your weapons. And whoever or whatever you've been trying to hurt or conquer or defeat or to defend yourself from that, I want you to allow all that to change and resolve. Because you don't have to fight the battles anymore. You never did. And I want you to feel that sense of peace moving through your body. And I want you to recognize the power of peace, because peace is infinitely more powerful than any battle, any fight, any destruction that you could ever create. So feel the real power, the peace, and the calm within you. Someone who knows how to create without a fight, who knows how to build and move forward without a battle, and who knows how to be honest and truthful without a war. And all the oaths that you've taken in the past for yourself, for your ancestors, all the promises that you've made, all the allegiances that you've sworn. I want you to breathe into that and allow them to be finished and complete. You've paid your dues. You've done what you said you would do. Now free yourself so that you can create a life that has honor and integrity and respect, and that is present and future facing. So instead of trying to change the past, you get to create the future. Breathe deep into that possibility of a life that's free to become what you want it to become. A life that's free to be better and healthier and happier than the past. That's free of old karma. That's free of old religious or cultural expectations. That's free of old divisions and judgment. I want you to take another moment to look down at your feet, where all those options for paths have been. And instead of feeling past lives or ancestors pulling you down paths, dragging you down paths, trying to get you to go a certain way, we're going to bring in lots of love so that you can choose your path and that they can support you and love you, following you as you make your way. as you take your journey through life. I want you to see and feel them behind you, supporting you, loving you, and cheering you on. And you can still allow yourself to be guided by their wisdom, to be nourished and nurtured by their love and their songs. You can still hear their stories and honor their experiences, knowing that you get to create your own. And I want you to see your path before you, the path that you get to choose each step of. The path that you get to choose, the quality, the pace, the feel, the look, the sound. You can build upon everything your ancestors have created, but you get to choose what you build and what you create. Allow yourself to feel the gratitude and the strength and the joy within that. Feel the freedom, the lightness, and the movement of flow within that. Breathe deep into that. Allow that freedom and awareness to move through every chakra, through every cell, through every part of your body. Breathe in deep, and as you breathe out, really breathe out, releasing anything that's been holding you back, that's been in the way. And taking a couple of nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I want you to take a few moments. And if you have any questions about anything that came up for you, or anything that you want to share, any insights or healing that came through, please feel free to do so. We'd love to hear from you now. Let me know how you're feeling. Hopefully you're feeling nice and grounded and nice and present. Let's see. Energy definitely feels more peaceful. Right. So, what I would encourage you to do today, I'm going to stand for a few more minutes. You got anything to share? What I would encourage you to do today is to really just allow yourself to feel lighter and freer. And if you recognize that you're agreeing to things, that you're making choices, that you're doing things that feel heavy, that feel like you don't want to do them, like there's other ways to spend your time, I want you to ask yourself what the obligation is in that and why you're allowing yourself to make those choices. So you have an opportunity today to start to make some different choices and to create some new awareness around that. So that's what I would encourage you to do today. Allison, not sure what shifted, but my body was certainly talking. So just breathe into that. Amazing. Perfect. No, that's fine. If you don't know all the details, that's fine. Amazing. Thank you, Jan. Jason, nice and grounded and ready for the day. Perfect. Mags, oh yeah, heard a lot about chastity, about being chased from ancestors, and also enslavement. Yeah, so definitely get to let that stuff go. It's amazing the old oaths and things that we don't even know, promises that we've made for loads of reasons. We can pick them up from all types of different places. So yeah, so definitely allow that, excuse me, allow that stuff to shift. You don't want to have to be caught up in that old nonsense. Julie felt really deep. Good. Emily, lots of emotions today. Good. Lots of downloads about pathways over the full moon. Yes, we've had a powerful full moon the last couple of days. That super moon was pretty super. I was trying to understand where the information was coming from, so that helped to see the layers. Awesome. Good. I feel much more peaceful and lighter. Good. Tracy, I was drawn to the old well-worn path at first, not the old overgrown one. Then after clearing, I knew not to take either, and there was an unclear path that I need to start slowly. Perfect. I love it. Amazing. So just allow that information and that insight to unfold, because yeah, that path will become clearer. It really, really will. Sarah got really warm and felt like things were shifting. Good. Juliet was good. Felt very productive. Awesome. Good. So yeah, so the idea is when you release old obligations, you do feel lighter, you feel freer, you feel like there are more options, more possibilities. It just allows you to have a spaciousness to choose differently. A lot of times these old obligations just keep us choosing the same things over and over and over again, whereas this allows you to have some spaciousness. You can choose differently. So Shuna, amazing insights, great. Could see the ancestors had worked hard to get what they wanted. They'd suffered, dying on the battlefield. Wow, yeah, lots of fighting, need to keep fighting. So letting that all go, creating an amazing new path forward. Yeah, yeah, we had some amazing warrior ancestors. They were, a lot of them were fighters. And there's, we can learn some amazing stuff from their experiences, but without having to continue the fight. So it's great to be able to let that go. Carolina felt many paths at first, very entangled. Yeah, that's what I was seeing for a lot of people. It's just all these layers and entangled and feeling really unclear and just not sure. Yeah, so that makes sense. And you took your own step. That's perfect, Caroline. Oh, sorry, Carolyn. Love that. Um, oh, yeah, so Caroline took a first step. Great. And Carolyn felt some release, brought through some surprising memories. Interesting. Yeah, really interesting. It's amazing the stuff we hold on to that we're not aware of on some levels. Yes, so for tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing it more into this lifetime. And so today we'll definitely clear a lot to help us get to that. And so it will be some more insight around some relationships that you have right now, or even potentially things from kind of childhood and growing up, some habits and patterns that we get into at young ages that we continue to create throughout our adult lives. So it will be more focused on this lifetime tomorrow. Lorraine, tuning into ancestors' creativity and joy and music. Good. And then you literally said those words. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your ancestors, they understood all that stuff. That's how they communicated. That's how they connected. That's how they shared. So, and we have that within us too. We sometimes forget that. So it's always good to connect in with those things. So perfect. You're in tune. So, Claire flying on a broom, that's fun. Seeing from a higher perspective, I love it. That's perfect freeing. Yeah. Yeah, higher perspective is great. Anytime you can kind of zoom out and get that bigger picture, that's really healing and really important to do. Great. So, if you have any questions or anything that comes up, you can still comment below, send me a private message through the page if there's anything you want to ask or share. Be really happy to hear from you. Michelle, I'm looking forward to tomorrow too. So have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Just, yeah, allow yourself to start to step out of these old obligations and these habitual ways of thinking and being. And I will see you tomorrow morning. So have a wonderful day. Speak soon.